I can't hear you. Now I can.
Welcome to Zero Hit Points. Welcome to Zero Hit Points. Welcome.
I think that actually for you should end more of these intros on a question. Welcome to Zero Hit Points.
Welcome to Zero Hit Points.
Yes.
It's October 4th. I'm Ryan Miller. Say hello to MugMatt Amberg.
I'm a blue mug, you're a red mug. We're gonna go be mug buddies together.
Yeah, I don't have a good... MugMatt's way better than like cut rye head. That just sounds
weird.
Deli-like.
It does. It sounds like well, actually, no. If I say it out loud, it's going to sound really bad. Because if I say, "Can I get some rye head?"
Nice
that just sounds like I'm weird.
Corned beef on rye head.
Don't forget, some Russian dressing on there.
There,
man.
That sounds like is that a thing?
Oh yeah, dude, Russian dressing. Heck yeah, on a Reuben.
Oh, I see. We were going Reuben.
That's where my head goes when you mention corned beef and then I hear deli meat. I'm immediately in Reuben mode.
Reuben.
Yeah.
I'm inexperienced when it comes to Reubens, I'll admit.
It is simple ingredients. It is rye bread, Russian dressing, which is oftentimes a just slightly different version of Thousand Island, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a more aggressive Thousand Island.
It is. It's like
it's got tattoos.
Yeah, it's violent.
It'll hurt you.
It's got a pack of cigarettes rolled up in its sleeve.
Viggo Mortensen portrays it often.
Very often, yes. Swiss cheese, the corned beef, and that's it. Oh, and sauerkraut. I'm sorry, sauerkraut, the major ingredient. I totally forgot. And sauerkraut, and then it's like it's ostensibly it is the fanciest of grilled cheeses.
Ooh.
And it's
now you're selling me.
Yeah,
okay.
Man, it's so good. You put enough. You get some good solid. You gotta have some good solid cheese on there. It's important.
I didn't even have rye bread for the first time until like a year out of high school. Until I was like 18. 19.
Yeah.
I was dating a lady.
Sure.
Who was more experienced. My first older girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Hey,
check out this sandwich.
Check out this bread." Yeah. I'm like, "Why is it brown?" She's like, "Trust me."
She's like, "You're gonna love it."
It was.
It's like the weirdest. Like
I'm not joking either. And then I bought it like every week after. I only ate rye bread for like a month straight. I'm like, look at
rye bread is very important though. I grew up eating rye bread it was one of my dad's favorite things. Like he loved Reubens, just ate the crap out of them, and it was just one of those things. And deli stuff in general, we kind of tended to have in the house, being the whole Jews that we were.
Okay, there.
I know what you were waiting for.
I almost did it with the rye. I was like, "Isn't that Jew?" And then it can be a little. I was like, "No, if it is, Matt's in charge of that."
Yeah. See, the interesting argument there is, then you start getting into some of the weird Judaism things. Like, should there be cheese on that for me? Because like in some respects, there's a whole you don't eat milk plates and meat together.
Okay.
So for some Jews, that means you can't have like a cheeseburger. You can't have it. I mean, beyond the you can't have a bacon burger for sure, but the cheeseburger you can't have. You can't have a grilled. Well, you could have a grilled cheese, but you can't have a patty melt. You know, like it's all sorts of weird things.
Man,
being a Jew is complicated, and I'm glad we moved away from it. One day, my dad was like, "Hey, I'm not a Jew," and you know what? We're done. No more. That's what happened.
Really?
Yeah, my dad wasn't actually a Jew. My mom was.
No, I knew that.
Yeah, no.
I just didn't know if it was a conscious decision at one point. Like it had been a very Jewish household up until a point.
It wasn't super. Like my mom tried really hard, and so
it's getting real serious here.
I grew up as a Jewish child until I was about 6 or 7.
Okay.
And then it was right around then when I kind of was like, I don't want to go to church anymore. It's just I don't like it.
Around 6 or 7. This is you.
Yeah, because it cut into other things, and in particular, it cut into hockey.
Oh,
And-
the other religion.
and
It's so much sense right now.
And my dad, not being religious, my dad was very much a, you know what, I'm not going to push anything on you. Your mom wants you to do this, so we're going to do it. And that's, but the minute it became like a conflict for me, he was like, oh yeah, no, we're done with it now. No, he's out. He's out. Drop the yarmulke. Drop it.
Amazing.
Drop it. Yeah. So
Here's a Red Wings hat.
pretty much that's awesome. It was the couple of years in between when I was playing and still being the little Jewish. It was rough, man. It was hard for a variety of reasons. Actually, it was hard because I had to split my time, and all of my time was taken up, and all I wanted to do was play hockey. Like that's it. That's all I wanted to do. But
This is fascinating.
The other aspect of it was, and here you go, Massachusetts. I love Massachusetts. It's where I'm from. Massachusetts, much like many places, has bigotry and racism problems, probably more than you'd expect from a super lefty area. And oddly enough, one of the things that you could call it child's play, I guess, but I certainly had my fair share of being poked and picked on because
no kidding.
I was the one Jewish hockey player on the team. Everybody else was pretty much Irish Catholic. Like a majority of the kids were Irish Catholic or, some other, and it was just real easy to pick on the boner with the weird hat.
Man.
Yeah, it was a thing.
That sucks.
No,
I mean, no, I get it. Yeah, but still, it
was a thing.
Should always be a thing.
Yeah, it was stupid. Like even when I was a kid, I got angry when I was a kid because you're just making fun. But then they were also my teammates, so it was kind of like one of those
I feel like that could go one of two ways too. Like being the only Jewish guy on the team too, you could come up like you could maybe get some pretty cool nicknames or some real fun ribbing or something like that.
It's just, but when you're that young, that's not the kind of thing
that's not what happens. Yeah.
No. When I got older, like my last couple of years, it never came up because I was not practicing in any way. But it was always like, it's always been one of those goofy things that I've used as part of my, I identify in very minute ways. Like to me, I am Jewish. It is what it is. I just don't practice it. It's just, I am, whatever.
It's, I mean, there's a huge history there. Not that I'm telling you about this, but there's I guess anybody else, there's like a cultural as well as ethnic,
Yeah. And I guess part of it is like there was when I became as I got older, part of that whole being a teenager thing also was I'm going to be unique. I didn't know anybody, nobody was, I didn't spend a lot of time with people that were Jews. Most everybody that I knew, and it just by happenstance, it wasn't like I was going out and looking for hey, are you a Jew? It just, it never came up really, but it was always known because I've always used it as, mostly as a way to make fun of myself. It's one of my favorite things to pull out as being curly hair, whatever. I like it. It's fun, but I don't know where I'm going with any of this anymore.
Okay, I know where you're going. How about this then? So that makes me wonder. You ended up in LA eventually.
It did, yeah.
Or the LA area.
Yeah, we lived in downtown LA for a few months, and then we moved out to it was Burbank, Valencia, and then Santa Maria. No.
That's where I live.
Yeah, that's where you live.
So was that kind of like a revelation? Like you must have been among, or I guess probably by that time it was past that 6-7 shift. You were.
Yeah. I mean, and LA was just a mind numbing thing for me in the first place. There was a culture shock, but I didn't come from, at that point I had been out of religion for at least a couple of years.
Right.
And I didn't actually move from, so if we get into the history of my life here, it was from Massachusetts. We actually moved to Wisconsin. So I was living in Wisconsin. That's when we moved to LA. And that was still
okay.
And there was a huge culture shock from that too. I mean, I was
going to say that's not even really a gradual shift. That's more of a shock with maybe a return to civilization.
Yes. No, that's exactly what it was. It was I went from being outside of a big city and spent a lot of my time in downtown Boston, back to the middle of freaking nowhere in Wisconsin. and then to downtown LA. Like, there were some moments. It is what it is.
This is good stuff.
Is
No,
it?
hey.
I'm
not lying. That was fascinating. I'm into it.
Now
But
you know.
if it was a movie, I would be like, did we just do an extra hit points on Matt? Just kidding. We can also talk about movies.
We can we? Gee.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, you tell me if.
All right.
Do you have movies you want to talk about?
Okay, I do. Here, I'm gonna preface this movies section here a little bit. So I kind of I'm making a conscious effort this month. I've never really done this in the past, to watch a horror movie a day. I want to get through 31 days. So I'm
For Schlocktober.
Yeah, yeah.
See, for my Shocktober, I'm just watching Shocker every day of October.
It's better than receiving a shocker every day. Depending, I guess that could be. Anyways, so I did watch a couple of extra movies, and I want to briefly mention them because I do think they're funny movies, and then I'll get into the horror movies I watch. So, Mr. Deeds, the Adam Sandler one.
Sure.
I still like that movie. That movie is really funny. It is possibly the least Sandler-y movie of those kind of flicks. I feel like
it's when he was moving away from kind of classic Sandler.
Yeah,
right? Tail end.
It's still got a bunch of really goofy things, but they're spaced out, and they're not. It doesn't rely on them. Like, it's just got some great bits to it. John Turturro. Every scene just stolen every scene. He's the best part.
And I want to say that was his first real comedy. I mean, okay, that's probably bad.
His first slapsticky.
Oh brother, where art thou? You could make that. But yeah, I feel like this was his first out and out.
I mean,
like,
I would argue Barton
comedy.
Fink is a comedy, but in a different way.
Right. Any of the Coen brothers films, yeah, you could be like, there's a line. But.
Yeah. Also, a huge standout in this movie for me. He's always solid. He's one of these guys that's always there, really good. But in this movie, his everything about him was perfect. Peter Gallagher,
right?
Great character actor, almost always the straight man. And in this movie in particular, to just be like incredulous and also realizing how idiotic everything is. Like, he gets that Deeds is a moron on some level, but he's not a moron.
Right.
So Deeds, I like Deeds. It's good. And then I watched. I haven't seen Captain Ron in forever.
I don't know if I believe that. It's forever, like less than a year.
No, man, Captain Ron probably multiple.
Well, okay, all right.
It's just one that
serious.
There's a lot of Kurt Russell films out there. There's a lot of Kurt.
This
is one that it's really funny, and I totally forget about it until I see it somewhere, and it happened to me on HBO. I was like, I gotta watch this. It's funny. That movie has got the dumbest premise. Everything about it is stupid, and it all works out great, because you can't have a movie like this. Is a great movie where you have a really, really funny actor, Martin Short, playing the straight man against Kurt Russell, who's normally the straight man's of action star, goofy, not altogether there boat Captain Ron.
He's somewhere between Bob from What About Bob, Bill Murray's Bob, and Pierce Brosnan's James Bond, basically.
Sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll go with that. I mean, I guess I would say closer to. He's more a cross between Bob and actually, I guess I'd go with another Kurt Russell. I'd say it's Jack Burton.
Snake. Okay.
He's Jack Burton. He's like, he gets it done when he needs to get it done. He's smarter than he needs to be. He's smarter than he seems to be.
Is he just a cross between Bill Murray's Bob and Kurt Russell?
Yes.
Are we beating around the bush?
Yeah, that's all Captain Ron is. It's very funny. That movie, I like it. I like it a lot. It's Kurt Russell talking like this the whole movie. I don't know why. It's really weird. It's like Kurt Russell watched the movie Rookie of the Year and was like, I am going to do an imitation of Daniel Stern's weird pitching coach. And like 5 people that listen to this show are going to get that reference and go, I totally know what you're talking about.
We should look up some interviews and see if you always got to wonder if that the day he shows up on set, that's just that's the accent that comes out after the first line, and they're like, cut.
All right,
we're doing that, Kurt. Yeah, this is the one I chose for this character. Okay,
we're doing this part.
You know what?
That works. So weird. So on to the horror flick. So the first horror movie I was inspired by. It came out. Loved that, and I wanted to watch something that was Stephen King, and I settled on The Dark Half, which is a movie I have not seen in some time.
I don't know that I've heard of it.
This is one of my favorite King stories because it's very personal. It's very obviously something about him, where he has this boy growing up named Thad Beaumont. He starts having these weird seizure things. They finally take him into the doctor, and he has brain surgery, and they find an eyeball that actually it blinks at the doctor, a couple of teeth and some hair and fingernails, and they're like, oh,
in the tumor
in his brain. They call that a tumor, but it's in his brain, and so they say that, oh, this is just an absorbed twin. It's nothing, but every time he would have these weird these seizures that weren't exactly seizures, he would hear sparrows, like birds, just flapping their wings and crying, and then he would write these amazing stories.
The Steven Spielberg TV show?
Yes, that's it. It's amazing stories. He wrote that.
Right.
It was fantastic.
I love it.
Stephen King, Steven Spielberg, rolls. They're the same guy. See,
jeez.
So he grows up, becomes an author, and is also a professor. As an author, his Thad Beaumont is not an exciting writer. Doesn't sell. He comes up with a pseudonym named George Stark. And George Stark writes these hard-boiled detective revenge stories starring a character called Alexis Machine. And Machine is brutal, and he's mean, and he doesn't take anything. He uses a straight razor for all of his, when he kills, all this stuff. And essentially what happens is George Stark takes on a life of his own and becomes real. Or is Thad Beaumont? That's kind of the question. Is Thad...
Okay.
So...
Can't believe they made a movie out of this.
So what happens here is
I can't believe they made a movie out of any Stephen King book. Actually,
well,
this is not.
Here's the thrust. This is why this all occurs. So, as an adult, he finally writes a book without George Stark, without using those things, and the book is amazing, and they love it. And then, right before they're going to release this book, he's blackmailed by a guy who figures out he's George Stark. This is very Richard Bachman-esque, I think, for Stephen King, where he wrote books as Richard Bachman. I think somebody was going to...
I didn't know that was a thing happened.
Yeah. If you actually watch The Running Man, it says the movie is based on the story by Richard Bachman. It's Stephen King's story.
Wow.
Anyways, so
you're like my new older girlfriend. Opening up my eyes.
Let me share some other breads with you. Have you ever had challah?
The Gwen Stefani bread?
Yeah. Challah back girl. It's
stupid.
Yeah.
What? So this was made into a movie.
Yeah,
not to rush you through
directed by George Romero.
Whoa.
Starring an amazing Timothy Hutton. Freaking kills this as both Thad Beaumont and George Stark. And in a smaller role, pivotal in the Stephen King universe, Michael Rooker shows up as Sheriff Pangborn.
Wow.
And Pangborn is a massive character in his books, and in particular shows up in Needful Things as kind of one of the main driving forces in Needful Things, and was played by Ed Harris in the movie Needful Things. But this movie, The Dark Half, this is a great movie, man. It moves at a good pace. It's got a really interesting story. The easiest way to kind of explain this is this is a story about a writer and writer's block and splitting yourself between, what are you capable of thinking of? What are you able to do? And in this case, that character of George Stark, when George comes out, he actually, Thad as an adult still has the seizures, but in a different way. And he writes the stories. He scratches them out with pencil on paper. He doesn't type like Thad Beaumont does. So Thad becomes George, but then George becomes something else altogether. And it's a really cool movie. It's got some really great visuals.
I'm into it.
It's
That's pretty cool.
It's totally a flick you can watch, and I think you'll dig it. I do. I think you'll really like it.
I'm into it. No, like everything you've said.
Yeah, it's a good one.
We'll go there.
I followed that one up. My second horror movie of the month here is this classic movie by Brian Yuzna called Society. This movie is utterly tremendous. It is a movie that total 80s in that it is a lot of build up to a freaking gross, disgustingly weird finale.
Okay.
So Society is totally, it is an eat the rich thing. Literally eat the rich. That is
okay.
And this is the
popular Aerosmith song of
your main character
might be more gross than what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, remember the udders? It had a pierced udder on the cover of that record. So in this situation, or in this movie, our main character, and there's nobody that you'll recognize in this movie. There's a bunch of nobody horror actors that are barely horror actors now. So this movie starts off with a guy hiding in this well-to-do teenage girl's closet, and she finds him, and he breaks out. He's like, no, I'm not perving on you. I just want to talk to you about this thing, and I got to talk to you. And they take him and they throw him in, and you're introduced to this family that is very, very like, you have mom, dad, daughter, all blonde, beautiful. And then you've got the brother who's got dark hair, longer hair, is like he fits in, but he doesn't fit in, and he knows it, but he doesn't know why his dad doesn't like him and seems to have problems with him. And so what this turns into is essentially there's a society that runs, in this case, Beverly Hills, and to continue their domination of everything and their existence, their pure existence, because they've been around as long as humans. They eat the poor. They eat the weak, the useless, because they're all rich.
Well,
and so
I thought they were eating the rich.
It becomes an eat the rich thing. Like, that's the fight. Is the rich always eat the poor. So the poor, the only way for the poor to win. So you get about an hour of exposition into this. In the last 20 minutes, the movie just drops all pretense. It goes bananas. Where, so the first time
I was gonna say, this sounds like a perfect horror film, and that like to me, horror is really good when it does deal with kind of these broad issues in these kind of not stupid ways, but in these real, not subtle way, like Eat the Rich, like what you're talking about, but then always has this opportunity or the threat is almost always, is it going to go bananas at the end? Like, are they going to make anything of this, or is it just going to be like, yeah, here we go?
Now, Brian Yuzna is in the horror world well known. Brian Yuzna is a known quantity. You're going to get something pretty good with the guy when he makes a movie. Okay. This is his movie. The end of this flick is and I'm spoiling. This movie's been out. It's like 1984.
That's fine. Yeah, go. We got to move anyways.
So this guy, the first guy that was trying to tell the brother about the society, they're going to do this thing called I think it's called shunting. Essentially, they like leech onto him, and then they pull their faces back, and they're all like sucking on his body, and their faces are like all like they're wet, and the effects are so they're like pulled back, and they're like their lips are like really, they kind of look like fish attached to the body, and they're like sucking out his body and just eating him and
the
stuff.
Wet face was enough.
And
like,
it's gross,
see some dude come up with me just like kind of wet. Yeah, I'm like, ugh.
And then they're gonna kill our main hero guy, and he's like, you know what? We're gonna duel. And so they fight, and then the bad guy's got his face on the dude's face, and he's sucking on it, and he's gonna suck it, and then suddenly, the dude turns it around, and the best part, he punches him up. His hand comes up to the dude's face. You see his fingers pop the eyeballs out. His thumb comes out through the mouth. Then he grabs that section of face and pulls down and pulls him inside out. And then you find out that they had nothing inside of them at all because they were just worms and gross sluggy things because they're rich. You see. Mm-hmm. Society.
I don't have to see that movie now.
It's a great movie. It has some really great effects at the end is really the best part. It's, the rest of the movie.
We call that the bowling ball.
That's true.
It's 0 hit points.
And then the last movie I watched was...
There's another one?
Yes, I got one more horror movie, and this one not nearly as weird.
Okay.
I watched the Purge.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I watched the Purge Election Day. This movie, so I think everybody understands the basic idea of the Purge at this point. There's been 4 movies of it, where the idea here is the government has put out a one day where 12 hours, everything is legal. Nothing is illegal. There are no cops. There are no fire. There's no EMTs. There's no 911. You kill, murder, rape, whatever you want to do. Have a great time. The next day, we're all picking up. The first movie was a brilliant introduction to it that didn't do a great job of introducing it. It had Ethan Hawke in it, and it was a home invasion movie. The second movie, they made it bigger, and they've gotten bigger still. So this movie is... There's an election about to happen, obviously. It's called Election Day, and one of the candidates wants to get rid of the Purge. And she, as a candidate, is making headway. She's actually getting a lot of headway. One of the rules of the Purge had always been you can kill anybody except government employees at X level.
So, well, that's... Bonk.
Right.
And screw that.
So for this movie, what they had to do was the government has to say, we're lifting that restriction. So all the government is now able to be attacked. Of course, this all comes down to, while everybody has the ability to do it, who has the most money to protect themselves, what have you.
Sure.
Yeah. Highlight of this movie is, especially after seeing, and you'll see Captain America, Civil War, and Winter Soldier, introduced a character called Crossbones, played by Frank Grillo.
Sure.
Frank Grillo was awesome in those movies. He has 2 minutes.
Frank Grillo is a specimen all on his own.
He is, and he is.
Watch a single interview with Frank. He's in here.
He's the main character is Frank Grillo, and then the politician that he's the bodyguard for, who's played by, say Elizabeth something. Is that her name?
Oh,
it's Purge election year, not election day. Jeez.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Let's redo that whole section.
Everything. Elizabeth Mitchell.
All right.
So he's tasked with being her bodyguard and getting her through through the Purge day. And the second movie is actually the introduction to his character. And he's kind of the main drive there too. The dude is just so cool, man. He is so good in this. And this is like he doesn't have to stretch. This is not hard for him. But after seeing this,
he's a pretty genuine human being.
But after seeing this and him as Crossbones and stuff, this dude should be a major action star. Like, he is killer in this. The movie is cool. It's fun. It's you get a couple of characters that you definitely are like, oh man, I know you're gonna die. A couple of characters you're like, oh, I hope you don't die. A couple of characters, yo man, I really want you to die. Fascinatingly, there is a guy who is he's not the main bad guy, but he's the underling that's sent to do all the dirty work for the main bad guy. Came on screen. First time I see him, I'm like, that's Anthony Michael Hall. Then he turns and I'm like, oh wait, that's not Anthony Michael Hall. No, okay, that's the guy that was in Bones and Warehouse 13. And then he turns again. I'm like, no, okay, it's not that guy. Then I look the guy up. Dude is a spitting freaking image of Anthony Michael Hall. It's not Anthony Michael Hall.
What's his name?
I don't know.
This literally just happened to me with the Admiral in Star Trek Discovery. I'll tell you who the Admiral is.
Oh, it's that guy. It's him.
Is it him?
It's Terry Serpico.
Yep, that's him. Same exact thing. Like, he pops up. I'm like, no kidding. They got Anthony Michael Hall in this thing. And my wife's like, I don't think that's him. I'm like, oh, that's it. Then I looked him up. I'm like, oh, it's not him.
His last name is Serpico.
Serpico.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna forget now.
Yeah. So this coming week, man, I don't know what the schedule is. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants with the okay. Horror movies. Gerald's Game is one that I'm going to try and get to this week, I hope, but we'll see.
You're doing one a day?
One a day.
Are you still holding to that? Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's easy enough to pull off one a day.
I would say let's not talk about 7 more movies next week. What if I know we're gonna have some time this cast. That's why whatever.
I will break them down faster the next time. Don't worry. Some of them are going to be known
we have
quantities
some time.
Too.
Gonna go through games quick. We have barely any news, so I even have 3 movies. I'm still going to tell you about them. So
no,
I think we'll be all right.
There are going to be known quantities in the coming weeks for sure. Things that I just want to revisit that I won't spend any time talking about. But
you can. That's no. Hey.
No, you already told me. Shut up. So I'm done. Here.
The only reason is because I know you're going to want to talk about at least one of these anyways.
That was a blank air horn.
I could put one of those in if you want.
Do.
I put one in last week.
I know.
That was pretty fun.
It was good. All right,
Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars. Is that the movie with... I don't have a joke here. I don't have anything.
Gary Sinise and eye makeup.
Gary Sinise.
Don Cheadle.
Val Kilmer?
Nope.
No. Val Kilmer's in the other Mars movie.
There's one more. Tim Robbins.
Timothy Robbins. That's right. He's the hero.
He's very heroic. Yeah, that's true. And the girl, I don't know her name. His wife is played by the girl from, she was in the later seasons of The Following, actually. She's kind of a weak link to the movie. This is a Brian De Palma film.
Yeah.
In the which Brian De Palma's it pretty thoroughly.
Connie Nielsen.
There you go. It's a very high concept film, or tries to be for a lot of it. Like there's some really fun parts to it. Don Cheadle gets stranded. There's some dismembering going on, but it's not a dismemberment type of movie. So that's kind of...
I dismember this movie. I saw it. I don't remember it.
It's part 2001 Space Odyssey, part Wizard of Oz, basically. Like they have a whole backstory for that face that people saw on Mars. There was a bunch of dust.
Right.
In a weird position.
2001, a space wizard.
Sure. That would be, hey, it's got some weird, like De Palma's signature is something that I don't know. Like I like Mission Impossible. I wasn't expecting to see similarities in his directing style between this and that, but it's there. Like he does kind of crooked angles. He does weird zooms at weird times, that don't necessarily, like, they seem really ham-fisted now. Like I don't know if back then it was kind of like he was doing something different or...
Well, I think if you go back and look at his filmography prior to Mission Impossible, and you see some of the films that he likes, and especially if you actually... Fantastic documentary.
That's true. These are very late.
There is a fantastic documentary out there about him. And this is a really, really crappy way of paraphrasing it, but he really likes trashy things. Like he really likes trashy looks, trashy movies. And like he likes the perverse sense of being a voyeur.
That actually helps a lot.
And that's part of, like, again, you go back to his older films and the violence, the way he films violence. He films it in a very voyeuristic manner.
I still think that's a strange fit for this film.
Very,
it is
very likely.
Like I said, high concept and all that, but it actually does help. No, that's a... If Gary Sinise's wife dies, he can't go to Mars, but then he can go to Mars to help Don Cheadle, who gets stuck. And they get there, they figure out the secret of the head, and it turns out it's a spaceship from aliens that also seeded Earth back in the day. So then at the very end, like, from the second you see Gary Sinise in his eye makeup, that he's going to stay on Mars. Like, he's going to get there. He's going to be the guy that's like, I am home, and everybody else is, which he is. That's totally what happens. And he gets on the ship, and the ship flies away with him on it. He's good to go. It cuts to a clip show where his life flashes before his eyes, but it's just parts of his life from the movie. But yeah, that's Mission to Mars in a nutshell. There's not too much to be said because I then watched Red Planet.
That's the Val Kilmer one.
It is. Hard Swing from Mission to Mars.
Hard Swing. I also remember between the two being disappointed and liking Mission to Mars more than Red Planet, because they came out around the same time, I feel like.
They did. Same year, which is part of the reason I always get them confused, which is part of the reason I watched them this week, because I wanted to, once and for all,
stop
confusing them.
It was it was Red Planet that I like, because Carrie-Anne Moss is cool.
That is correct. Yeah. Carrie-Anne Moss is the captain. Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
That's somebody else I'm still forgetting.
It was this one that
freaking,
I liked.
The Mentalist is in it.
Yeah, Simon Pegg. No, Simon Baker.
Simon Baker, yeah.
Also my favorite, the Limey, Terrence Stamp, Zod.
Terrence Stamp is in it for too short.
And
of a while.
Sandra Bullock's ex, Benjamin Bratt.
Benjamin Bratt also not in there for very long.
Yeah. It
does some fun things with all those characters. It is a hard swing for Mission to Mars because the effects are worse. The story is way more pulpy. Like it starts out pulpier than it is. Like it really throws you for a loop in the beginning because each character, Val Kilmer's the tough guy, he won't spit out his gum, and each one of them has that archetype, and it's leaned into like super heavy. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be some kind of goofy action, and then it tries to be more than that. Which just makes it kind of a strange mashup, but
so okay, right there. Just pause for 1 second.
All right,
every single thing you've just said applies to the following films: Navy SEALs, Darkman, Hard Target, Silent, Barbed Wire, The Jackal, Virus, and Red Planet. And what do they all have in common? That's right.
Okay.
Writer Chuck Farrer. And I knew this because I remember there was some weird connection to the movie that I found like right away, and it was totally Darkman. I was like, oh, he wrote the screenplay for Darkman.
It tries to go, I feel like it tries to be, like Darkman is a good example because I feel like that movie always knows what it is. Like it's pretty consistent throughout, even if it's
you also
Sam
have
Raimi, I feel like
you also have a great director who knew how to make that movie.
But Red Planet, like there's like a mystery involved, which the mystery is initially the most interesting thing about the movie for me, but then it's kind of backgrounded and pooped out at the end, really. People are kind of dropping like flies. Tom Sizemore is very entertaining in his super scientist role, where he says stuff like, "I'm trying to map the human genome."
Oh, that
like,
genome!
Okay.
You got to map it.
He calls it a genome.
Map the genome.
He's mapping it, but then he dies. It's a fine movie. Like oh man, did I like it better than Mission to Mars? You didn't ask, kind of obliquely.
No, did you?
Yeah.
But you don't. But not because of story. It all comes down to this is totally one where you almost have to fight the fact that Mission to Mars is probably the better movie, but Red Planet is more fun with actors I want to see.
Yeah. I mean, Mission, like Red Planet looks worse, but
Val Kilmer.
Yeah. I don't know. That's so different. Hey, let's throw something else in the mix then.
Ghosts of Mars.
I then watched Ghosts of Mars.
Yes! Oh, I can't believe that. I love Ghosts of Mars. That movie, I unironically enjoy that movie. Ice Cube is cool, and Natasha Henstridge is rad.
Even harder swing from Red Planet even.
No, you've gone big here. You swung for the fences on that.
I'm not as familiar with Carpenter as you are, and this honestly is the first time I'm starting to understand him a little bit more.
It's such a weird movie.
It is
Pam Grier
freaking weird.
This is one of the first movies I remember Jason Statham into, if I remember correctly. Yep.
And he's completely, like, they put him in fight scenes, and they probably shouldn't have, because you can tell he has training. Everybody else is like, tripping all over the place. And it's okay. So when I say this is the first movie where John Carpenter's made a little bit more sense to me. I've seen Escape from New York and probably one other, but I never got, like, Escape from New York isn't necessarily serious.
Escape from New York is played and filmed in a fairly action film but somewhat serious manner, with its tongue planted firmly in cheek. Like, Kurt Russell knows he's just oozing this charm, and
maybe
Carpenter
it's
knows
it's definitely a better movie than this, I guess. So maybe I'm just
thinking
in terms of quality. But this is the first time I get like look at the names. This is the best way I can describe this. Look at the names in this thing. Melanie Ballard, Desolation Williams, Jericho Butler, Kincaid, Braddock, Whitlock. The bad guy's name isn't ever named, but apparently it's Big Daddy Mars.
Sure.
Did you know that?
I did not. I would not have called him
I think it doesn't pull that off all the time. Like, there's still dialogue in here that's straight up bad, like, and not like good bad or tongue-in-cheek bad.
No. Yeah.
Like, Whitlock's got a bad line that I was going to write down and I forgot, but the best one probably comes from Natasha Henstridge, where they're driving away from all the bad, and she goes up to the girl, to Whitlock, and says, "If we blew up the nuclear power plant, what would happen?" And you can tell, maybe at some point somebody read that line and was like, okay, that's maybe just bad. So the follow-up question from Henstridge is, there'd be a big explosion, right? As if that fixes it somehow. And this all gets a completely serious answer from the girl, which is even maybe more amazing, given that it's one of those movies where kind of everybody has a issue with everybody else. Nobody's really nice to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that it still has some issues, but I think he pulls it off.
It's pulpy fun, man. Like, that movie is not good. It doesn't. It's a cool Carpenter flick, but it's not a good movie. It's like
there's a scene.
It's fun.
Because Jason Statham's character is a total creep to Natasha Henstridge the whole time. Trying to get with her, and then there's a scene where stuff has kind of gone bad already, and he's like, come check out this room, and she goes and checks out the room, and he starts talking about how it's out of the way and I can close this door, and she's like, okay, like, thinking there's some tactical reason to this, and he's like, this might be the last chance for us to get it on.
Yeah.
And to the which she responds like she has been to him the whole time, like, you're a creep, you're an idiot, or it's some one-liner. But then after he says that, and after she says that, she says, okay, yeah, but she still says it in like a sarcastic way, like the next thing she's gonna do is kick him in the crotch or something. But no, then she just starts making out with him.
No,
and then they're interrupted.
Yeah.
No, they don't. He's interrupted, and then they leave. But that's it. There's no follow up. Like, it's like Jason Statham asked Carpenter for a kissing scene with Henstridge or something, and that was the best they could do.
And Carpenter's like, "Who the hell are you? Get out of here! I don't know you. You're not a name."
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Have you been in the Fast and Furious yet? Okay, forget it. I will say there's a couple finale things where they have some pretty cool set pieces where they're driving a thing through town as the buildings explode. Like, there's some pretty good practical effects in there. But
and I like the idea of the movie, like the whole
Sure.
weird alien and possession thing. It's Carpenter schlock.
Sure,
I love it.
sure.
It's good.
Yeah. That the actual premise itself, is solid.
There is I will tell you, there will be Carpenter films coming up. Prince of Darkness, I think, is on deck for this week.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites.
All right. One more story for you. This will take us right into games. The SNES Classic came out this week.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before on the show a little bit. None of us have the NES Classic. We didn't quite think thought it was cool, not maybe necessary for how we do stuff anyways, or whatever. If somebody gives me one, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I wanted the SNES Classic. I had made the decision I was going to get one. I just wasn't going to get involved with all the pre-order and preset. Nintendo has said that they should have plenty out. They're going to make plenty beyond, holiday season this year, etc. Except I had a friend call me up, which or text me, whatever. It's 2017. I don't talk to him. I do talk to him. We're old poker buddies is what it is. That should be plenty explanatory for you. We're old
I like
poker
how this
buddies.
is gone. I had a friend call me up. Well, he texted me. Okay, I don't really talk to him very much, but we're friends. Okay, wait. Let me explain. I
was talking to myself at home one day.
I got an automated text message from my doctor.
No, he calls me up. He's like, NES. He's like, SNES Classic. I'm like, nah. Like, I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking? He's like, I might actually go brave the Lions on Friday. And I'm like, oh, like this is how messed up I am. Somebody tells me they're thinking about going and waiting in line for an hour or two. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like fun, actually. Like, I might actually do it just for that. Like, hey, we'll go hang out for 2 hours in the morning with a bunch of other people that have just got to be super weird. Like, there's no chance they're not. Which, we're super weird. Also,
yeah, no, I mean, if I
not passing judgment here.
If I knew people, I would probably do it for not that. But
if we lived close to each other, we would have been there. Let's face it.
Oh yeah, okay,
There's probably. Well, I mean, you might have had to work, but
no, I still would have been there.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So it's getting closer to the day, and I realize that I take the kids to school in the morning anyways. So there was a couple articles out there about how to buy it, like best way to go about getting it. So I look at all these things. Best Buy opens at they're giving out tickets at 7, but they open at 10. Target opens at 9, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Or maybe it's 8 actually. But then Walmart opens at 7. So I tell him all this, and he's like, okay, maybe we'll, Walmart at 6 or something like that. And then I'm like, oh, I can't. Like, I got to take the kids. So I realized that my only chance for getting this thing, if I want it, I realized that I need to find a Walmart that's open 24 hours because they'll start selling it at midnight, so I can get it that night instead of the morning, which I can't do. So yeah, 20 minutes away, there's a Walmart that's 24 hours. And I'm like, this is the only way I'm going to get it. So, and not even, it still hadn't even decided then at that point. This is day of, this is Thursday. It gets to be like 9 p.m. and I realize like, oh yeah, I was kind of thinking about doing that. So I call Walmart. I'm like, hey, do you got a line for me? And they're like, yeah, we got a line. I'm like, can you tell me how many units you have? And he's like, no. I was like, well, can you tell me if all the people in line are going to get one? He's like, yeah, it's looking good. And I'm like, okay, so if I drive down there, does it look like I'm going to get one? He's like, if you get here quick, yeah. So I texted my friend. I'm like, I think I'm doing this tonight because I can't do it tomorrow anyways. And it turns out he didn't even go in the morning. Now this guy who like basically talked me into it, like didn't talk me into it.
He destinied you.
He sure. Yeah. Anyway, so I call my dad who lives in the town where this is happening. I was like, hey, go wait in line for me. And it's a good thing I did because when I got there, I was like, yeah, no, it was a whole thing. I ruined lots of people's lives. But he did.
Ruining mine right now.
And I got it. And I haven't even played it yet because there's been plenty of other games to talk about this week, as you will see. But I've got this week, look for some Star Fox 1 and thus 2, which is what I really want to get into.
Yeah.
I'll stream some of that. So.
Yeah, dude, I want to see it badly.
Yeah. That's my intro to games. That's where now you can just talk forever about anything games you played. Just
all right. Yeah, all right. So let's Fortnite Battle Royale. We streamed this. We streamed it last week.
We did
Thursday.
I put that up. Yeah, that's up.
Yeah,
it's out there.
Yeah, it is.
You can watch it.
I think we're gonna do it again this week because this week I think they dropped the update that allows for duos instead of squads, so we won't be at a disadvantage of being against 4-player teams.
Well. Say we won't be at a disadvantage
against 4-player teams. That's all. We're still at a disadvantage against duos and
against
individuals,
2-player teams, yeah,
and single players. I mean, we're definitely. But,
fair enough.
My comments from last week stand, and I think that you maybe felt a little bit of that when we played that. The game is. I think it looks good. I ended up getting a bunch of. I had a bunch of hitches, which definitely caused me.
Yeah, there was a.
I'm not gonna say it killed me, but it didn't help.
It didn't help.
It didn't help. But my big problem with the game is the guns just don't feel like they do anything. You see the numbers fly up and that you're hitting them, but they have no weight to them at all. Like nothing.
Yeah, and I definitely felt that. I mean. First off, if you listen to the stream, like I should probably apologize anyways because I literally just pulled up from like a 12-hour workday, so I could have been more into the game, and I don't want what I say now to be colored by that. So I guess grain of salt and all.
Nope.
But yeah, the guns don't feel right, and the part of this reluctance comes from the fact that I am kind of waiting for Battlegrounds. Like I don't want this to be my Battle Royale or whatever the genre has to be renamed since they stole it. Now, like I'm really looking forward to Battlegrounds a lot. Fortnite has always looked better than it's played to me, and that kind of still holds true. And part of the thing is I'm not into building. Like that's still not interesting to me, even in the confines of this, Battle Royale. Like it still seems to me like this game isn't made for this technically. And I kind of like I'll play this again with you, obviously.
Sure.
And yes, there was fun to be had. But I'm not gonna fire this up on my own probably ever,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But it'll be fun, and I'm sure I'll be more into it tomorrow when we stream it than I was last week.
And then I actually tried to stream it. I don't know what is going on with my computer, man. Like I had to do some uninstalls, and now nothing is working right. Like now my mic isn't coming through correctly, and like dude, when I was playing, that was crazy. Dude, I was streaming, and I had never seen my CPU shoot up like that. They were just pegged while that was going.
Sounds like you got a virus.
It's possible. I don't know. I need to. It's been a little over a year, I think. So I'll probably give it a wipe and clean it up and do a new install on it. See if that fixes it.
Okay. Are you gonna try that? Try a Fortnite Friday this week, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a shot again. I'm gonna keep working on it. I'm not gonna get my computer wiped this week, but I'm gonna try and see what happens. So.
Well, either way, we'll get like we've been talking about. We'll get get that Xbox version up and running for tomorrow's stream.
Yeah, it'll be good. But a majority of my time this week, in fact, the only game I really spent any time with was Cuphead.
Yeah.
Cuphead.
Mm-hmm. That's the one.
tell me how you feel about Cuphead.
We've been looking forward to this pretty hard.
Yes.
We played it a couple times at numerous PAXs now, 2 PAXs. Sorry, I did. You were not at the last one. Not that
great.
I'm better than you.
Yeah, no, it's just another day of self-harm.
Got to talk to the brothers the first year, though.
Yeah.
At length, they were running the booth, and super cool guys. Like, one of the highlights probably of that year, if not of PAX. Like one of the few people that I actually did networking for, which I don't do. Like, I'm very bad at that. You certainly excel at that when it comes to 0 Hit Point. I gave them my business card and said, call me if you need anything, which they don't. They wouldn't. Anybody else would be better. Yeah. That's how awesome it was to talk to them, and Cuphead is. So it has borne out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm love the game. It looks as good as it looks, and plays as good as you think.
That doesn't sound like a great review, but it actually is a good review. I agree with you. I like it looks amazing. That's number one. I can honestly say that I can attribute a good chunk of deaths just to looking at the game, being like, oh man, look at the background thing. Oh, look at the way he's moving. Yeah, that's cool. Oh,
you want to look at the animation when he dies. The sound effects of some guy going poof. Just like a poof.
Yeah. I love it. The studio MDHR put out just a phenomenal game. It feels amazing. The look of it, again, just fantastic. The structure and how they built it, I actually really totally dig that it's like an overland map. You go to the things that you want to do. They added a couple of game. The game was originally just a boss rush mode that was just boss attacks, just boss fights, and then they added.
I never got that actually. I didn't know. That's cool.
And then they added in the running gun modes, which is actually what they're called in game. They're called, which is what I
thought the game was. Yeah.
And so far, those are great too. Like the nice additions.
And that's where you get all your coins to buy your upgrades, which the upgrade system's pretty darn good.
It is. It's got like lots of cool options and stuff.
The game itself came out this could be a different game. This could not look phenomenal, and I'd still be pretty happy with this game, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the look certainly helps. It's no question that it's a draw, but the quality here, like whatever they put out next, I will certainly be ready to try it.
What do they put out next? I was thinking about that though.
Yeah, who knows?
Is it another hand-drawn thing? Like, this thing took so long. Do they just keep going down this path?
Their next game will be out in 2026. The game has a pretty cool, I think, difficulty curve. I don't think the game is impossible. I don't think it's even in some respects. I don't even think it's that hard. I think that this is a game where you do spend time with each level, and as you play it, these games you're gonna die. You're not like all those guys who've done speed runs that have gone through this without getting hit and done everything, gotten A+ on everything. All of them probably died thousands of times before memorizing the levels, because that's what you're doing. You're essentially memorizing levels there are bits of randomness thrown in that the cycle in which the boss may attack you may change, may go out of a different order.
Yep. There's one boss where you're literally and we played this at PAX, you hit it's a slot machine. Mm-hmm. So you hit it, and whatever it comes up, that's the attack that'll come at you. So that's random,
Yeah, and I did that one a bunch of times, because I've done all of them a bunch of times, because I've died a bunch of times. Right. Every time I did that one, the slots came up differently. There was one time, like the one I finally finished it, I think it was all three the same thing. Like I got the same things in a row. But every other time I'd gotten two or one,
I don't think
one
that's ever
different. Yeah, so it's beautiful. The feel of the game, again, I think the platforming is stellar. It feels like where I'm gonna land is where I'm gonna land. There's no squishiness to the controller or anything. And all that being said, I am fascinated by the amount of complaining about how hard it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, the rest of what we're gonna talk about with this game, is basically gonna be, is Cuphead hard?
Yeah, and here's when this game was first announced and talked about, in every respect, they've stated this is going to be a hard game. This is not meant to be an easy game, a walkthrough, even on simple.
It was certainly never sold it as anything different. Yeah, that can just forget about.
And there are things that, like, these are the headlines right now. When you Google it, it's Cuphead is the prettiest game to make you throw your controller. Cuphead is so difficult, it's making me hate myself. Cuphead ruiner and the joy of really hard games. It turns out
Which one is that
Cuphead is really difficult. That was a GameRevolution.com.
Okay.
So, and then beyond that, you know, I've been seeing people. I had a discussion with Mike Micah, creator of iDarb, about this on Twitter the other day. And
friend of the show.
Yeah.
Friend of humanity.
Friend of humanity. And Khalif from Spawn on Me. We talked about it a little bit today too. I kind of hate that people are whining about how difficult it is, because it's not a walkthrough, because it's not holding their hands and super simple. And on top of all of that, again, I don't know that this game is truly difficult. One of the things that came up in that discussion was, is it difficult or is it challenging? And I think that's a good question, because I think they're different things. The game is challenging. It challenges you to die and to learn why you died, and then to learn how to not die that way again. That's the challenge. Most games try to do that. Many games do it in different manners and handholdy ways.
No, yeah, and part of it's the genre. Like, and I've been racking my brain trying to remember what the last game was that we talked about this, but I mentioned specifically, I feel like there's a foot involved. I was shooting at a foot. I should have looked this up. Maybe you'll remember as I talk about it. But where the very first time I played that boss, I got super angry. There's just something about thinking that I should immediately get it. And then I was able to consciously kind of throw the switch and be like, oh, I just have to memorize what he's going to do. God, like, I can't just sit in one spot and keep firing and try to jump a little bit. Like, I have to time it. I have to try it.
Was it Guacamelee?
That's freaking it. Yeah, man. Okay. Nice. See, that's why we're a team.
I'm glad we figured that out. But no,
that was totally
finally.
Within a split second of the first thing, I'm like, oh, this is baloney, I said angrily.
I like to imagine that's not what you said.
By golly. But that's what it is. Like, once you figure out that that's what it is, I mean, if we're going to talk semantics, it's sure, whatever. I will give you it's hard. I will give you it's difficult. I'll give you whatever you want. Because in the end, like, that's not, like, it's just a word. You know, this definitely requires more thought than you might think at the outset. You know,
right.
You're not going to just get it. And once you make peace with that and try to do, I mean, yeah, you have to do what the game's asking you to do in a way. You know, there's maybe not a lot of flexibility, especially on the harder difficulty levels. Might be only one path through that bullet hell, but it's executing that, you know.
Yeah.
That's the game.
No, for sure. And you know, I guess the other thing is, like, I don't know if this is I mean, definitely anecdotal. I'm not sure how prevalent this is, but I'm curious how many of those people are actively aggravated that the game is hard because the game looks like it shouldn't be, because it's pretty, because it's nice, because it's bubbly. Dude,
that's actually a beautiful commentary, because there's a really cool video out there, which I think I saw it on Facebook, and now I don't know who made it. But that talks about the roots of Cuphead being in that 1930s and 40s cartoon era, which was very pre-Disney. Like, this is when, it to us, being so familiar with Disney and cartoons in general, we know that kind of soft, squishy look conveys the fluffiness of Disney. But before, and I forget what there was actual code or a law that got passed, before that, it had these super scary looking monsters and these, like, really almost offensive stereotypes, probably definitely offensive stereotypes. In the cartoons, like, they were frightening, like, and not just, you know, I'm sure they were frightening back then. Looking on them now, like, even more so, because
what the hell
are
you doing
strange.
to children?
Yeah, what is this? And that's freaking Cuphead. Like, it's trading on that. Like, it's reminiscent of that.
Definitely. I think ultimately the game is eminently beatable if you take the time with it. That's it.
Dude, I think the difficulty curve on this isn't even that bad. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
So I started playing this with my wife, and this is what I tweeted on the Zero Hit Points account. We played for about an hour. We got through some stuff all on simple. We didn't do any of the regular difficulty stuff. Regular is the difficulty you need to do if you want to actually progress in the story. And then she went to bed, and I spent about another hour getting A+ ranks on all the same ones that we played. And I know I'm probably in for a rude awakening as the story goes on. It's probably going to get harder, but that's a pretty perfect difficulty curve to me right there. Like having to spend another hour on, I forget how many levels was it, maybe 5 levels to A rank those, like that's acceptable. Like that's maybe even a little low, like they got some room to grow actually. So
well, and one of the interesting things I found playing through, I'm finding myself that every time I die, I kind of know why, I kind of learn why, I get something out of it. I haven't gone back to do the A ranks, but I ultimately feel like they're totally achievable, even for me, especially early on. Like once you understand and you've beaten the boss, it's kind of there's I felt this in the past, but in this game specifically, like, there's this like weird open freedom where I'm like, the minute that boss dies, like my brain goes, oh, it opens up and here's how every puzzle worked. Here's and now you can do it.
Yep. One of the brightest modern scholars, Rodney Mullen, has a real good bit on that. He likens it unto a skateboard trick. Mm-hmm. But basically you land that trick once and you got it. Like you could spend 10 hours doing that trick. You finally land it once and you got it. That's it. Now you can do it. Like that was the only barrier.
Right.
You've got it from then on out. You can repeat that like within, a minute. Maybe you do it right again immediately after, like Cuphead's totally that, man.
It is.
It's one of those ones where it is designed well enough that you see the path even maybe after the first boss fight, and then it's just executing on that path. Like you know what you have to do now.
Yeah.
You just have to keep trying it until you get the pieces together, and then it goes into the whole thing where the first you'll get the first piece flawlessly and then screw up on the rest. You'll screw up on the first and do the second piece flawlessly, and then there's back and forth.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I totally when you finish those bosses, like there's not it's also a sense of relief, but there's like this is a game where it's stretching my abilities and my skills and forcing me to kind of remember how things worked before the easy times, before the dark times. And I get a really nice sense of accomplishment. And every single boss here, I am like, Beth, Daisy, anybody pay attention to me. I get really excited. And
I did it.
And the other part that goes along with that I love and what's driving me to keep playing the game for sure is I get that sense of accomplishment after every section of the boss, because it becomes something new. Like you get through the first part and okay, what are they going to throw at me now?
Sure.
Okay, boss has gone off screen. Is it going to come back on in the middle and be huge? Is it going to be off to the left? Is it going to go back and forth? Okay, cool. Oh, okay, it's this. All right, so I'm going to get to that like every time now, but I'm going to die a bunch of. And then when you finally get it's so cool to get to those next parts. And then when you get to the next part, that is that final moment where that perfect, like weirdly scratchy voice knockout comes across, and man,
yeah,
they did it. I love it.
All cylinders, man.
I love it.
Yeah. Did you finish the game?
I'm not even close.
Okay. All right.
So no.
We'll talk about this a little bit more next week.
I'm taking a long time with these bosses because I'm clearly not very good at this. But once I figure them out, like that's it's okay. But
you shouldn't be sailing like any boss you sail through on the first try. It's kind of disappointing, actually.
And I haven't gotten and I haven't done any of those. So
there you go.
I'm good with it.
Cool. We'll keep talking.
And that is all I did this week, man. That was it. That was my game.
I'm still playing Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I think I'll save much more of what I have to save when I finally finish the story. I'm still loving it. So whatever.
Cool.
Also DDR Universe.
How are your legs? Strong.
Pretty good. No, I've now moved around enough in my normal life that working out can't hurt me. That's what I say.
Oh.
I will say one thing. Yeah, no, right? Isn't that crazy? I will say one thing. I'm going to try and say one thing about DDR because there's nothing to say about it really. So I'll try and say one thing about it every week. The music in that game is mostly very bad.
Yes.
Just, I'll say that this week. And then I finished, wrapped up, rolled credits on Infinite Warfare.
I don't believe you even a little bit. Like a year in the making.
I deserve that. No, that's cool. That's it. Oh man, it literally has been, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The next Call of Duty comes out next month. Yep. Okay. That's fine. No, I did. Okay. Part of the reason I played Cuphead with my wife is because we finally wrapped on this thing. So.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Now that your stories are starting to line up a little better.
All right. I've got proof. The campaign for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is, at best, I will need to do some replaying to cement this, but tentatively, my second favorite campaign of the series ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I couldn't really, I would say Call of Duty 4 is maybe my number one. I couldn't tell you a ton about it still. Mm-hmm. I will soon because I'll replay I'll play the remaster for the first time.
Sure.
Secondly.
Bummer.
But Space Navy is just done so well. And the characters, every single one of them lands. Like some of them are more sidelined than others. Some of them are definitely, background characters. But the three in the front, which is your character, actually, so you're not just kind of a silent protagonist here. There's not much to inject.
Inject me.
His buddy, Salt, and the robot, Ethan, who's probably the best, easily. Like his character, it's just done. I am aware how this sounds.
Yeah, no,
I shouldn't be saying this.
You're making me mad.
Like there's plenty of arguments to be made from
furious.
Decent people around the world that are like, this Call of Duty campaign is vacuous and just checks off the boxes. Loud explosions. Might throw a Michael Bay in there or two every now and then. Mm-hmm. It all lands for me. I love it. Mm-hmm. Very happy with the campaign.
I am very happy that a campaign for one of my favorite games of all time finally is coming out in sequel form because the trailer park is open.
Oh man, right into news. Okay, let's.
Red Dead Redemption Part Deuce. It's a prequel, baby. It's a prequel. Give me all of it.
It is a prequel, baby.
Give me everything about it.
Born a few days ago. There's a trailer, a couple details, literally a couple. Has to do with the Vanderlinde gang, which was the gang that Marsden was coming from and trying to escape. The past he was trying to escape. We get to delve into that.
Yeah.
Has there been any footage of actual Marsden? I haven't looked.
I don't think so. Okay.
I'm
kind of hoping that this is early enough on that
we don't need him. No, that's fine.
Well, I'm hoping that he's still like a baby and that we do get to see him, not like a baby, like an infant, but I mean like young
baby,
like a teeny, like that we get to guide him into his role as being a murderous.
No, he joins the gang when he's 2 years old. No, it's great. Like he's got a little bandana.
He's got a little cigar sticking out. He's like the baby Herman from Roger Rabbit. Come on, Toots.
That's good. That's a good pull.
Arcade Maroon.
No, it looks good. Like whatever. Looks
freaking
fantastic.
amazing, man. Great. It looks so good.
We'll buy 5 copies.
That's day one. It's been pre-ordered for every console, everything available. I pre-ordered it for the next gen console already, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. And not to be outdone, in a frustrating for me manner, John Boyega, hey, I'm cool. I'm in movies like Star Wars. You should check out this neat game with a single player campaign now that doesn't look stupid. Yeah, the Battlefront 2 story trailer, dude. Oh man, I'm super into that. Are
you saying that Boyega sold you?
Boyega.
Or the story trailer sold you?
Boyega helped, but the story trailer got me.
So I didn't watch any of it. Well, I watched the Boyega thing. I didn't watch the story trailer because I don't want, I'm already in. Really?
I'm into that trailer, like the way that they are going to introduce.
Well, it's not just a trailer either. It's like the first part of the story. Isn't it?
It's like, I think it's a trailer. I mean, it's
that's the way they worded it.
You get you get the cinematic for it basically, and it's
okay. I don't want it.
It's great.
I'm gonna get it.
I am into it, and to the point where I am severely debating whether or not I'm going to pre-order it today because
what do you get?
Because the open beta or the closed beta today goes open beta on Friday.
Oh, so you just get early access? Yeah.
Yeah, early access. Okay. But you get early access to everything. You get early access when it goes live. And you do get some stupid other nonsense crap poop.
If the nonsense crap is worth it, I'm not above pre-ordering. I mean, I'm going to get the thing anyways.
You do. Well, you do get an upgrade, I think, for Yoda's lightsaber. There were upgrades involved. Okay. So, yeah. Here, let's just do this.
No. It's coming. We're gonna get it. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Did you see this Assassin's Creed Origins business?
This is actually, I love this. Not gonna make me get the game in any way, but I love it.
Well, I mean, I might get it for my daughter.
If I had a daughter that I loved for
hurts me so bad.
To get games, I would get it for, but I won't.
So they're adding an educational mode to Assassin's Creed Origins, which they have a screenshot of it, but basically it says that you get to walk around the world. I'm guessing quick travel, but they gave all the locations. Okay, what the heck? I'll read it. In Discovery Tour, players can travel around the game's entire open world, visiting locations like Alexandria, Memphis, and Giza Plateau. They'll see people working and animals going about their lives. Historians and Egyptologists also offer tours based on their own areas of expertise, including the Great Pyramids, mummification, and the life of Cleopatra. Like, this has been maybe the main thing I like about Assassin's Creed games anyways.
Yep. the what is it called? Yeah, I mean, it's part of your... Like, it's not in the Animus, but it's
been a little bit different for each one. But yeah, it's the whole archive or codex.
That's what I was thinking.
Mass
of,
Effect
right.
or whatever. Yeah, I mean, to surface this in a way that sounds like you're just wandering around the world learning about stuff sounds fantastic. Like, I wish they would do this for LA Noire. Think about freaking that.
Oh man. And the thing with LA Noire is they could totally do it just like... So one of the things that was cool that I loved about Assassin's Creed is that whenever a real historical figure or anything like when you're in Rome and you go to the Duomo...
Oh man, I hadn't even thought about that.
They talk... Like, you get a historical biography, a brief bit about all of those people.
Like, if that figure actually came out and was like, like if Benjamin Franklin, like, I did this and the something... I don't know enough about history. I have a degree in history. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, but you went to film school, so you could make a history movie, but you can't talk about it.
Kind of a negative effect.
Negative because of film. Yeah.
What else we got?
Water, ice, and lightning round.
Yeah.
Woo! This is the part of the show called the lightning round. It's where we spend very little time on news items that we don't want to spend time talking about or don't deserve the time spent, or that we just don't have enough information on because, you know what?
Too much.
Well, okay, roll it back. Just edit that. And we're back in here. Here we are, 30 seconds on the clock. Lightning round, Mr. Ryan.
Lightning round.
Lightning Ryan. Round go. Wait, lightning.
Sorry.
Lightning round.
Proceed.
Developers say Shenmue 3 now has facial expressions.
Hey, it worked for Mass Effect Andromeda.
The Mario Brothers arcade game cost $8 on the Nintendo Switch eShop.
Only if you buy it.
Swery's cat RPG The Good Life will also have dogs.
And that, my friend, is why they call it The Good Life. Probably.
Okay. Games coming out. Hey, Forza Motor, Motorboto, Motocross, GPX 73. Forza Motorsport 7 came out yesterday. Quick note.
I want to play the first game you said.
Do. Quick note for Forza Motorsport 7. Don't get the VIP pass unless you don't want money in your life because it's not worth it. It's a total waste of time.
Issue with that.
Yeah, go check out the articles all over the place about how terrible that is.
The articles are bad too, though, because it's like people complain that the VIP pass didn't give them everything that it gave them before, and then Microsoft or Turn 10 released a statement that was like, "Oh, whenever somebody's confused, we'll fix it," and then they fixed the description, but it didn't say they fixed. Like, were they just describing it incorrectly, or was it really giving them less than they had gotten from the VIP pass, VIP pass in the past.
I have a VIP pass for Forza 3. This pass that they're selling here is completely different. And the one I have for Forza 3 or Horizon 3, I should say, same as they've been doing for the past couple years. So these used to just be, you bought the pass, you got more money, more XP as you played, no big deal.
In perpetuity.
Yeah. Now it's a 25 use thing for certain cars. You can't use it everywhere. Only
and they
certain
haven't
races.
Changed that back then.
Nope.
They literally just so I don't know what the problem in the description. The problem with the description was that they described it correctly. Apparently,
no. It's because the way they described it does not. It was basically the same description as before. The assumption being that there was nothing in there about it being limited, about it being a certain use. It was, you get this. You get it.
Sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
Forza's been driving down the microtransaction path pretty drunkenly over the past few years. Like that?
Horizon 3, yeah, it was good. Horizon 3 I thought did okay.
Did I say Horizon? Forza.
Well,
dang it. This is all wrong.
No, you said
what other games are coming out?
You said Forza. I'm saying Forza Horizon did it right. This seems like definitely not the right direction. But other games, yeah, they're coming out tomorrow. We got a Hat in Time,
which I will argue is every hat.
That's the questionable.
That is,
you know what?
Not a different hat from every other hat.
The P stands for philosophy in 0HP. Stardew Valley for the Switch, Axiom Verge for the Switch come out. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, and Fortnite is doing a Horde Bash update. It's basically going to be a giant Horde mode. Cool thing about this one, though, if you're building, this is PvE, by the way, so it's got nothing to do with Battle Royale. Okay. This is cool, though. If you've been playing PvE, you've got a fort built, you're going to be able to import your fort with other people's forts. You're going to have giant forts over this map, and you're going to have Horde mode, which it kind of is that way already, but this is expanded. It's kind of neat. I'm looking forward to checking it out. Yeah. Right. We've decided, we already mentioned it, we're going to stream Fortnite Battle Royale tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pist. This week I can tell you video games are going to get played.
Can you?
Video games like Cuphead.
Yeah, we'll do a lot more Cuphead.
That's honestly, it's all.
That's all you want to commit to at this point.
That's all I'm committing to.
That's fine. Like I said, also previously, I'm going to fire up Star Fox 1 and 2. We'll stream that. I'll have one more thing to say about DDR Universe and possibly Mirror's Edge next week. I could finish Mirror's Edge. Honestly, Mirror's Edge is the thing I'm spending the most time with lately because now that I'm stuck in the playing the game with wife mode again.
Oh, is she into that?
See how it goes. Cuphead, yeah, no, she freaking loves it.
Oh, yeah.
Like I asked her, I was like, should I keep playing this or like, do you want it? She's like, no, I want to keep going still until it gets too hard for me.
I thought you said Mirror's Edge. I may have just either misheard or you misspoke.
Oh no,
either way,
she knows nothing of Mirror's Edge. That is our secret.
Finally.
So look forward to that next week on 0 Hit Points. You can also go to the website, to the YouTube, to the Facebooks, to the Instagrams, to the just whatever.
Look for 0 Hit Points, and we're gonna be there
until next week.
And then next week we'll be somewhere else.
Right here.
Yes.
At 0 Hit Points.
Oh wait, what did I say?
.com.